talk, real people, real conversation. Week to week, this the place to get your inspiration. Go and sit back and unwind, sipping on your coldest glass of wine. This the home of girl bosses and the warriors. Went from tragedy to triumph and it's glorious. Ain't no question if they ask, they got that fire. This the podcast that came to Aspire. Welcome to Aspire Podcast, home of the real. Real talk, real people, real stories. Give it up one time for y'all hosts, Sujay.
Hello, everybody. How's it going? Listen, I'm gonna keep it short and sweet. I'm gonna introduce my girl, and we're just gonna talk. So, please, Millicent, introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about you.
All right, so I'm so excited to be here. It's a couple reasons why I'm so excited for this interview. Primarily because it's my hometown and it's my first interview, so I'm here with my girl Jay.
Own.
Yes, Orlando's own. So we're getting ready to get into it. Yes. But my name is Millicent. I am a Fortune 25 leader. I am the founder and CEO of Impact Greater Good, which is a nonprofit focused on community outreach as well as education through literacy, with the focus really on children. And I'm also the creator and author of the Little Millie children's book series. And that collection is everything to me because it's me really fostering confidence and self-esteem in kids. So that's a little bit about where I am right now, but we're going to get into more.
I feel like to get to where you are now, people need to understand a background.
Yes.
Like your backstory.
Yes.
And that's the whole point of this podcast is really like, yes, triumph now, but how'd you get here? Because people don't understand that through the adversity is where people grow, right? And that things are just not handed to some people.
No.
So tell me where Milicent Reed was as a child. Like, tell me that story a little bit.
All right, so that's a good start because I know we were talking previously, and a lot of times when they see the product or a package, everyone is just like, you've had everything handed to you, and
I know.
You've had all of the connections, and your journey has just been so easy, Millie. But behind this big, huge smile, they say the people with the largest smile have the most pain. There are so many things that I've been through, so many dark days, so many obstacles that I had to overcome. So I'm first generation, and I'll talk about that, but I started in Orlando, Florida. We started humble beginnings. 5th grade, I lived in a homeless shelter. I real deal lived in a homeless shelter. Coalition for the Homeless. I went visit them today. I live in a homeless shelter.
Visited them.
Yeah, I lived in a homeless shelter in the 5th grade. My mom was waiting on housing subsidy, and so we went in a homeless shelter, and so that was like kind of like nostalgia. To go back, and it was wild. It was a wild feeling all day. I went to my elementary school because I want to do a Little Millie show there, and so I went to Washington Shores Elementary School here. Shout out Washington Shores Elementary.
I actually know exactly where they are. So
I went kindergarten, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th. I had the best education, and no matter where we moved, my mom kept me in that school, and that school was the foundation for everything and who I am today. The teachers were so hard on us. Miss Gordon, you already know, my 5th grade teacher. That is the love of my life. She was the only teacher that recognized that I was gifted as a child. And so she put so much into me. And she didn't even know. I recently told her that I lived in a homeless shelter when I was in 5th grade. And she didn't even know. I was catching a city bus. All the way from Paramore.
You make me emotional because I did the same.
From 5th grade, because my mom was like, all of your siblings and cousins, they've all moved on and, they're not in elementary anymore. And she was like, if you want to stay at this school, I can't take
by
you.
By any means necessary. I thought,
I said no. I was so I was like, no, I'm staying at Washington Shores. I caught the city bus by myself every day in the 5th grade. And I look back at that experience and I'm like, first of all, why did I do that? But I was just like, at that time, I hurt my mom's feelings because she was like, you're so ashamed. And it wasn't that, but I'm like, you live in a shelter. Like, I don't want to tell kids that I live in it.
But who's proud of that, really? At 5th grade, even honestly, at any age.
You don't want to get picked at. So you're like, I live in a shelter, for heaven's sake. And they had a school because kids did get picked at. So they had a school on site. And I'm like, it was called the Cool School. And
so
I'm like,
crazy.
I will not be going to the cool school. Nobody would ever take me serious. So I caught the city bus back and forth to Washington Shores Elementary, which I'm happy I did because I was able to finish out with my 5th grade teacher. And then from there, my mom in middle school, we ended up moving to Atlanta, and my mom did so well there. This woman with a 6th grade education had decided, clocked in, she had a janitorial business, and she had the family working for her. So that was my first understanding of legacy.
Wow.
And although she didn't know how to handle it, she had started a family business, and she had family working for us, and she was really trying to build something for us to have. Okay. And so that's really where it all started from, like childhood. My brothers went off to the military. My oldest brother went to the Air Force. My other brother went to the Marines. My sister ended up graduating, and she had a child. And so for me, I was just grinding it out, working. I worked at Taco Bell since I was 14, McDonald's. I had 2 and 3 jobs, doing extracurricular activities. Yeah. I knew, like, you know, sibling rivalry is a thing, right? And as you get older, they even think
you
that
gotta do better than them always.
They even think that you had a silver spoon, but I'm like, no, I could have made every terrible decision possible because by the time I'm the youngest, my mom was in grind mode, so she didn't have time to sit here and be like.
She wasn't raising you by that point. It was like she kept you alive. Yeah.
Jay, she was like, either you're gonna do it or you're not. I don't have time to sit here and
coddle you.
Yeah, and so I just took it and ran, and I did everything that I needed to do, and I always knew it was more. And a shout out to my aunt and my mom, because I will say, although they may not have had all the money, my aunt used to always say, and my mom, I want you all to have vision. So they used to pack us up in road trips and cars, and they would take us on trips because they was like, I want you all to know, I want my children to know there is more to life than just Orlando. And that really did like start my appetite for wanting to see more and knowing that there was more out there.
This isn't even something I thought I would ask you, but do you feel, had they not given you that, because I come from very humble beginnings too. I wasn't fed that. Yeah. I wanted that. Okay. But you were fed that, so that's different. Yeah, yeah. Do you feel like you'd be in this position where you are today had you not been fed that? Had you not been shown that there's a bigger world out there?
I feel like for me, the women who raised me, no, they didn't have the college degrees. But these women were
hustlers.
Hustlers. I said hustlers. Yeah. My aunts, my cousins, they saw something in me as a young child, and they always put into me. Like the oldest in my family, every time I came around, you doing good in school, to the day she died. You still got a good job. You educated. You doing well in school. My mom, my aunts. So there was some gaps, but as far as like always putting into me and telling me that I could do more and see more.
Something more.
I will say that I had that. And honestly, because it was no one telling me like affirmations, like the way I'm going with the children's book route. Absolutely. And I feel like that was a miss. And so I feel like now that's what I want to give to the kids. And
so that's good.
And now the kids' books, we're going to get into that, but the kids' books, the last release, Little Millie's Affirmations on the Go, that was actually derived from parents. The feedback that I have received from parents telling me, Millie, I've never had anyone tell me those things. And even like when I'm reading them to my child, I'm finding healing for my childhood trauma and my childhood self, because now I'm having conversations and like, wow, if I would have had someone putting that into me, how much further I would go.
My best friend once told me, shout out to Melissa, she once told me that I am doing everything that my younger self needed from me. So you're giving the world things that you knew you didn't have, and now, and it starts with children, right?
Yep. I feel like you do.
If you feed these children something positive, then more positivity.
Watch them
will
go.
come out. Exactly.
Watch them go. They can be. I do feel like, I will say this. I do feel like I was one of the people, I was like, when I was younger, you in a struggle, I'm like, I could have been born with a silver spoon in my mouth. I would have been fine.
And been real good.
But everybody like, no, Millie, because you wouldn't have, in your journey, though, you and I was talking about our spiritual journey. If you don't go the journey that God is taking you, and I'm not trying to throw religion on anyone, but you meet the people who you're supposed to meet. You connect with the people who you're supposed to connect with. And so people like, if you would have had that silver spoon, I don't think I would have been humble. Because I think I would have been like, I'm lit. Excuse me, miss. What is your name? I would have been walking in there like, listen, don't play with me.
I feel like everybody who, and you said this earlier before we were recording that, it was during, that people with the biggest smiles hold the most pain. And it's funny because I genuinely believe that.
I do. That's true.
Most people, because we're smiling, don't know that like everybody thinks that I had this perfect life unless you know me. I remember a friend of mine, she's a lifelong friend at this point, but before she really knew me, she was like, oh, when she came to my house, I feel like she felt embarrassed for me, but she never told me until we were older. And she was like, honey, I thought I was poor. And then I went to your house. But she's like, growing up at school, she was like, you're the happiest person. I was like, I want her life. I was like, you don't want my life now, right? And it's true. People genuinely assume because you're beautiful, you have
thank
this
you. I
class
appreciate it.
all this stuff, that you must have had this easy life.
I had a girl recently, a friend, tell me that. She was like, Millie, you had all the connections, you had everything. And I'm like, there's this video. Okay, so there's this video on YouTube. And everybody should watch that video because it's such a great representation of life. So they have these kids all line up, and it's all races, all different, cultures and backgrounds. And so he have all these kids line up on a starting line, and he say, take 2 steps forward if you come from a mother and father household. Take 2 steps forward if you had access to private school education. Take 2 steps forward if you had access to a tutor. And he just continues to name these things. And so all of these kids are moving forward, and you can only imagine. And then you look back who was on the starting line still and what that representation looked like. There were a lot of minorities, right? And then he brought it all together because it was a video showing racial disparity. And he was like, those kids on the back, they still have to run this race called life. Yeah. But what's so crazy to me is now that I'm on this journey, I've caught up with second generation wealth. I'm in a room with kids who parents had it. And I'm like, how did I catch up with you? But on Shark Tank, the lady Barbara, she had made a comment one time. She said she preferred poor kids because they have to work. They understand business. They was working.
Understand it. They learn what they need to learn to get there.
And she's like, the privileged kids, because I remember being in D.C. and there was this young man, handsome, attractive, and he was working, right? And I was like asking him about his stuff, and he was like, oh, this is my parents, and my family own this restaurant. I said, so what are you gonna do? He's like, I'm just gonna chill. I'm gonna eat off this. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know anything about chilling because we're trying. What you talking about? Jay, we're in grind mode trying to make it happen every day. So like to hear somebody say that, I would think you would want to take the baton and go even higher, further. So I'm like, it's going to be a trip one day when I end up in a room with Northwest. Yes, I said it, and Blue Ivy, because it's going to happen. They'll probably even be the characters for the Little Millie in the Little Millie cartoons or whatever.
Say it. It's gonna speak into
yeah, existence. But I'm just like, it's going to be a trip because I started, me and my brothers and sisters.
How were we in the same place?
We started from that back line, and I just grinded it out and worked it out. And I'm so thankful, though, because now I get it now, because I'm like, I met some really dope people along the way. Some good people, some dope people. My life is filled with so much joy. I'm single, but I don't feel.
She's single, guy.
Yeah. Single, ready to mingle, but come to me right. In order, righteous, right, proper, right.
Have some
God
grace,
first,
and
God first.
Grace, humility, and God.
God first.
Those are like the top 3 for me, period. Like,
God first.
Yes,
if you rooted in God, get up in my DMs. If you not, miss me, all right?
Please,
let be the first. Yeah, I'm not with it. But I'm excited because I feel so good. I feel so good at this impact phase of my life. And like you said, being able to do more and give more.
And talking about that, I want to talk about the impact greater God, because
impact greater good.
I'm calling God good. I say God, but it's good. It's good, but it's from God, right? Look,
absolutely.
Listen,
Hey, he is leading that way. I'm gonna be
exactly.
honest. Like, I'm gonna be honest.
I want to talk about it because one time I was told, why do you want to help people so much when you need help yourself? That stuck with me.
Yeah.
I was probably 15 when I heard that.
What?
And it made me angry. Like, what you mean?
How many? Okay, are you going through that too, where you're starting to remember and recollect all the things people said to you?
Not only am I starting to remember, but I'm starting to feel it. Like, this is why I'm doing this because of that comment. Even though I didn't think about it, I may have not thought about that comment for 10 years, but now I'm thinking about it because I'm doing more. I'm actually impacting, and I'm like, this is what I've always wanted to do.
So
I wasn't nasty or bad or like, help yourself first. And I'm like, well, I'm poor, but I don't care. If I have $2 to my name, $1 could go to somebody else who may need it more. And
that comment, Maya Angelou said, that quote, you know that quote about people will forget what you said, they forget what you did, but they never forget
how you made
them feel. How true is that now?
It is everything. I actually have that. It's in a meme, and I have it saved. It's
okay. That's one of your favorite.
Because yes, and that's why
I remember how
that.
people made me feel, and I'm like, and that's why. So when you talk about impact greater good,
not God,
good. So that's a great transition.
Yes.
Impact greater good, and my motivation behind that. The mission is simple: do good 365 days of the year. Okay, let's talk about this.
Yes.
In my journey, I have made mistakes.
Everybody
I have
has.
showed up improper at times. I have did things, that I'm not proud of. I have a lot of things that, but for me, one of the things that I believe to be true wholeheartedly is do more good, put more good. And so I'm hopeful that I've done more good, and impact greater good is the mission. Do good 365 days of the year. So that's what I'm rooted in. And I just want people to have positive experiences with me, have positive experiences with people in the world, and just like listening to each other. I will say this, like, we just did the Love in Action for Impact Greater Good for Valentine's Day. And the last time we did it for the holidays, you have to listen. You have to ask questions and listen. So I was out there for the holidays, and I'm thinking, okay, I'm doing a noble thing, which I am, feeding the homeless for the holidays, and, that was good. But the women came up to me, and they were just talking. They was like, hey, Millicent, our greatest need is, women's care essential items and sanitary items. They was like, when we're out here, that's what we need. And I was like, all right, I'm coming back, and I'm going to do something for you all. And so that's why I came up with Love in Action. And some of the same women were out there, and they was like, thank you for listening to us. Thank you. I appreciate it. But I was like, you have to listen, because that's going to go a long way with them.
It's different even it's beautiful to want to help, but sometimes wanting to help the way you want to help isn't helping. Yeah. Right? Yeah. And so you do have to come outside of yourself and be, it's not about you. I always tell people the reason why I do anything, any charity work, any food drive, anything that I'm working on is I'm listening to the little girl in me. Mm-hmm. That what I needed, but I also want people to feel like understood, heard, listened to, and that's super important. I think in general, a lot of people help, and I say help in quotes because they do it not necessarily for the greater good, which I love why you call it that, like impact greater good. They do it because, I have this money. Maybe let me do this with this money because it's a tax write-off, it's whatever. And I've seen that. But I've also seen people put blood, sweat, and tears into something.
And I honestly, so I say this all the time, I've been active in the community 15 years. And that's not to brag, but that's me actually showing up doing the work because, as you know, and I was talking to you about that, there are people who show up to get the photo opportunities. Yes. And I'm not calling anybody out. Yeah. I'm not calling anybody out. But along my journey, I've seen it. I've seen it that people don't really care. They just come, get the Facebook picture and the Instagram picture they posted, and they don't really care. They move on with their life. And I feel like you leave behind people who actually really need the assistance, the help, the encouragement. And I will say this, when I lived in that homeless shelter in the 5th grade, one of the things that I loved about the volunteers, they always came with a smile. I remember them always having the same shirt, and they had the biggest smile. And I said, when I get older, I want to volunteer. And that's part of my organization too, because I know like the feedback from the volunteers, they're like, Millie, why can't we just put the food on the table and people could just pick it up as they go? And I said, well, that's not what I'm trying to do, because now if you go through a drive-through, if you have you been to a drive-through where they don't even look at you and they just like, here's your bag?
Here's your bag. Yeah.
Okay, I said I don't want that.
No.
There are people in need, but I would like for them to have choices. I would like for you all to communicate. I would like for you all to interact. And so, no, that's not the model that I want
to have conversations with.
It does.
They're still.
It does.
They're people. Like I feel like. People forget that. Like, they're not less than. They're not anybody. Like, I'm not afraid of a homeless person. And they're
pretty cool people. They have their own culture.
I genuinely
cool. I like them.
have gotten, like, what are you doing talking to that man? Like, you know he could do? And I said, yeah, a person in a suit and tie with tons of money could do the same thing.
Man,
like,
they have the best stories. Like, I've learned so much.
Stories.
I've learned so many different stories. I've heard, touched, seen, filled, and like, I'm always like, how did you get here, right? Like, because, like, life happened, and we all go through our ups and downs, and I'm like, I'm thankful that I've been able to bounce back, because there's times in my life that have been so dark that I'm like, I don't even understand how. I know it's God now, but I'm like, I know that could have been me. So to see that their life took that direction, I genuinely have empathy and just be wanting to hear that story.
I think the world needs more empathy, because people are in a good place, and they just assume nothing else exists.
Yeah, for sure.
So from that, and then you have, I want to talk about these books, because I want to talk about the books, because I've been, and not only the books, but the stories behind them, and the kids that you're impacting.
Okay.
Because I know you are. I know, like, even knowing parts of the books, I haven't read them all, I can't lie to you, but I have done some research, and I've seen a lot of videos. I've seen you read to kids. I've seen, like, how happy these kids are seeing them in a children's book, right?
So I brought you something. I did.
I like
it. You all can have www.mylittlemillie.com is where you can find all the merchandise. So you get your little bag, My Little Millie bag. So I did get your My Little Millie bag. But I also brought you every book in the collection. So
I am a book lover.
Okay.
Like, I have children's books that I had from my childhood still in my house.
You know,
yes.
All right, so now you have
I have boys, I have kids.
All right, so you have the whole My Little Millie collection.
Yay.
And shout out to Covered Worldwide out of Atlanta. Brandon, he has been amazing with my merchandise.
This is so cute.
It's so cute because the kids get to, have their little bags. But I wanted to give you this as your gift. Yeah, I wanted to give you this as your gift. But let's talk about the book. So,
yes. Look, let me hand this over here.
Let's talk about the books.
Look, My Little Millie.
All right, these are the hardbacks. So, you all, I put my blood, sweat, and tears into these books.
I already
know. What's very important is that I'm thankful for my journey. I'm thankful to be here. I cannot ask for a better life. But one of the most important things to me is making sure that I give back and I show the blueprint. And the blueprint is just having confidence in yourself. Yeah. So the first book is Little Millie and a Magical Mirror. This is an important book because it's Little Millie, and she looks in that mirror and she starts to get it. She starts to get it. And it's so cool because if you see the book, that's actually Little Millie. The illustrator, he's in Pakistan and he is amazing, okay? So Little Millie and a Magical Mirror. And then we went from Little Millie and a Magical Mirror. You all see me all online. Little Millie Book of Affirmations. And these are just 14 kid-friendly affirmations that, kids, if you've seen the videos, they are the cutest thing in the world when the kids are reciting their affirmations. And
I'm an affirmations girl, so.
And the kids get it. Yeah. Let me tell you, I have a girlfriend in Tampa that I go to, and I stay at her house, right? And I spend the night. And I did a reading at her pre-K 3-year-old, and she wakes up the next day, gives me the biggest hug, and she's like, I am kind, I am beautiful, I love myself. So darling. All right, 6 months later, we're at Starbucks. I'm taking them to Starbucks because, the kids, I don't know why they like Starbucks these days.
They love it.
But shout out Starbucks. You can give Aspire an endorsement.
Yeah, listen.
All right, listen. But
and I love coffee, so let's go.
They like the cake pops and they like the pink drinks.
They do.
Let's go. So I take her to Starbucks the other morning, and she's like, I'm kind, I'm beautiful, I am confident. I look back so quick. Because she gets it. Pre-K, 3-4.
And that's the whole point from that age.
Affirmations are important. And I'm learning that if you put that in them young, listen. Then we went from Little Millie Loves the Holidays. This book is the cutest thing. So many parents are telling me how the little girls are loving this book because I put pictures of Little Millie, and then I go when Millie is an
Show
adult,
other friends.
and no, I go Little Millie, and then I say how grown up Millie
Grown
says
up.
it. So I
Okay.
got real pictures in this book. This is the
I love
most.
how this is so. This is you. So I did notice. I was like, that has to be her.
That's me.
Because
That's me.
your mouth.
That's
girl.
me.
That's
That's
your
my
face.
my
That's your
big
smile.
smile.
Yes.
This book is the most important book. I don't think I can make a more important book in this collection. Little Millie learns about character. This is everything that I learned to be true about life.
Okay.
And this book needs to be in the hands of every child. If I had enough money, I would make sure every child has this book. Little Millie
Your
learns
child
about
can
character.
have it.
Your child can have it too. www.mylittlemillie.com.
Yes.
Books are available on Amazon as well. If you do go to Amazon, leave a review. So I'm doing my little infomercial as
No,
well.
girl, do it. Do it.
And then I
That's
just
what I have
released
you here
this
for.
book, Little Millie Affirmations on the Go. And this book essentially was derived from parents telling me that this book brought healing. So I wanted something where kids and parents can take a car ride, school, travel, and read it together
freaking love
interactive.
that.
So Little Millie Affirmations on the Go is a amazing book as well. And then releasing within the next 2 weeks will be Little Millie Tomboy Club, where we're bringing boys into the fold. So that's cute.
Okay.
But tonight we have a special release. I can't wait. And this is the coloring book. So the coloring book collection is Color Bold, Color Bright. And if you all go and look online at this cover, this book is beautiful. This edition is beautiful, but the coloring book collection is so amazing. You all, every child will be able to see themselves. So on this cover, Jay, tell me what you see on this cover.
Everybody. I see Hispanic, Black, white, disabled, bigger people, taller people, shorter people. I see heavier set people, like kids of all kinds. So growing up, I had imposter syndrome, and I realize that now.
Okay.
But my name is Sujay. I growing up, I looked a little bit Indian. But, and I'm Hispanic, but I didn't know all these things, right? And I didn't have anybody that looked like me anywhere. I didn't. Like I would turn on, my mom would watch Spanish TV, all that stuff, but nobody looked like you couldn't tell what I was. Yeah. So this kind of book, like I would have dreamed about it.
All inclusive.
As I was younger. Even now, like you don't see.
I have a responsibility. I have a responsibility because I am a Fortune 25 DE&I diversity, equity, and inclusion leader, which is a hot topic right now.
Yes.
But also as a leader, understanding the importance of diversity.
Yes.
And I will say this, on my journey, the people who have been so good to me don't look like me.
Absolutely.
So I think the world is big, and you have to open yourself up there. So I want to teach kids that if they start now and they understand that love can look like anything. And it can come from anywhere. And your friends, I have friends, Czechoslovakian, Russian, Lebanese, Asian, people that I love and that have been good to me. So the coloring book edition is out. Color Bold, Color Bright. Go get it for your kids. Make certain you follow the Little Millie collection. We have a long way to go with the Little Millie collection.
Guys.
Yep, she got the books live in action, but that's the purpose of that. And so I'm really excited at this impact phase of my life to be in a school system and really seeing the kids, because let me tell you, you'll see the kids like, it's so cute because like they'll be like, you're like, okay, I want volunteers to come up, like who was paying attention.
They always want to.
And they always want to come up, right? And so at first you're like, say, I am kind. I am kind. Yeah. And you're like, no. You like, say it.
That wasn't the child I was.
I said, say it like you have confidence in yourself. I am kind. And so you see their little growth process, and I love that. And I'm hopeful that these children that I am touching along the way, I want, if nothing else, I want for them to take with them and take forward that looking in that mirror, being confident in themselves and believing in themselves, because, along their journey, you're going to get so many people telling them what they can and can't do, vision killers, you get the haters, the people who just pick away, and before you know it, your self-esteem is shot in the ground.
Today I got a message that said, and it was from literally a perfect stranger. And they said, you exude kindness, and thank you for being so kind to people that don't even know you. And it stuck with me, but because that's literally a goal of mine. What is a goal of yours besides I feel like impact and is obviously something that you do, but what's really genuinely like the reason you started all of this? What was like that one thing? I needed to be kind because I never got the kindness I needed. So what was yours?
I think for me, I could kind of get emotional.
I am asking it.
Yeah. I think for me, one of the most misunderstood things about Millicent is the fact that you see this package and you're like, oh, she's beautiful and she has it all. She has the education, she has the family, and she has the friends and all of these things. But I've been broken, right? I was broken and I've been through so much, and I remember those dark days. I remember so many dark days.
And it's okay. But the memory and the thing that you are first generation trailblazer, because that's what you are. But remembering why.
Yeah.
And sometimes like that message, I was like, and I have goosebumps right now talking about it.
I remember hard times.
Yes.
Like I remember
and you
like
have to, because it's still
having to catch
something.
the city bus and like
not knowing what next meal. Like I've known starvation. I know.
Or just having to grind it out and
Yeah.
like just being, in relationships and just the defeat of those. And it was so bad. I had got 289 pounds. I remember how I felt, right? And I was just like, I feel like with kids, they don't have all of the other stuff like adults have, the brokenness and things like that.
We
so
break
I feel
them.
like
The world breaks them.
with kids, and then we wonder why we grow up and kids, like I see so many adults say bad things to kids, and then like when the kid become older and become an adult, they're like, why does this kid not like me? Well, you said some pretty messed up things to that child, right? Yeah. And so with all of the things that have happened to me, I just feel like the least I can do is be a person of God. I grew up real, like I used to love God. I used to love to go to church, but I went out in the world and I let the world just change me. And I wanted to be a part of the world. And then I was like, now that I'm coming back to my center, I'm like, God created me and my purpose. This big smile, he wanted like me to carry that.
And how can you not share that?
Yeah,
with the world? Like,
yeah. So
I feel like God, it's a disservice to God to not share the traits and the qualities that He gives you.
Yeah, I think so
too.
too.
People don't, especially people with backgrounds that are tougher, people with like one-parent households, people that have had it rough, don't usually grow up to shine. They don't. Like that's just the truth. It's rare, but
I also think too, like out of all of the brokenness, I'm like, it's pretty cool that my smile still stayed
same
the smile. And I'm like, that makes me feel like I have to give honor to God, because I'm like, out of all of the things I've been through, the fact that my smile still lights up when I go into places, people like, you have such a beautiful smile, and it makes people feel good. That just makes me feel like,
I'm so happy you said that, because it's so true. I think I used to get made fun of for my smile, and when I remember that, and it was from people that should have loved me, right?
Yeah. If I tell you what, we're not gonna talk about it here, but girl,
we'll have other talk, right?
Yeah.
But I just always tell people like, that's God gave it to you for a reason.
Yeah.
And there's times where I smile and I'm crying and I'm smiling and I look like a freaking serial killer. I'll say that, but it's because no one's gonna take my smile. I don't care what you did to me. It's gonna hurt. I'm gonna cry later, but I'm still gonna keep that smile because that's what God gave me. It's my defense.
My smile. Yeah, I'm not gonna tell that story right now, but I got a story to tell about what I heard about my smile.
Woo, girl, the things I've heard too. Like,
yeah,
it's. Do you have anything that someone said to you that impacted you, even if it was bad, but that made you, like somebody, told me crazy stuff. I've been told some stuff, but it stayed with me so that I can do better. Do you have one thing that someone told you?
Oh, girl, it'll be emotional, but
but listen, it's your truth, because I want people to understand that yes, you have all this amazingness, right? And the whole purpose of this podcast is like, yes, a lot of people come on here with triumph, but the story behind it is why they have this triumphant thing. So I want people to understand, like, those are words that fed you, but it didn't defeat you.
one of the things, but this is gonna sound so bad, but I'm really close to this person and my aunt. So I had a aunt that I'm super close to, and she knows that I'm telling this story.
Yeah, tell it.
And I heard this over 100 times. I could name them all. You are not light skinned. You don't have long hair. You have a big mouth. You look like Whoopi Goldberg, and Whoopi Goldberg is ugly.
Woo!
Right? You're not light skinned. You don't have blue eyes. You don't have long hair. You look like Whoopi Goldberg, and you have a big smile like Whoopi Goldberg is ugly. Damn. It has come a time, ladies and gentlemen. It has come a time where that same little girl is what's deemed beautiful in the world.
Amen.
And life has transpired 2025, and here we are. And where I'm on the cover of person. Right. And I'm like, that for me, when that was happening, I knew that was happening. I knew what was happening. I remember the moment I started to push back. It was in middle school, and Whoopi Goldberg, if you're listening, she is someone that I want to interview me because I want to talk to her about that. Because I remember she had did Sister Act, and she had also did.
I thought she was beautiful.
She had did The Ghost, and so she had did enough work, her body of work. So when I got to middle school, I was like, why do you keep saying Whoopi Goldberg ugly? Because I think she's so beautiful, and she smiled. And she has this big smile. She don't look like everybody else, but I thought she was beautiful.
Yes, same.
And so that adult stopped pushing. She stopped saying those things to me because now I started in my own head. By the time I got to middle school, I had always been such a leader that it wasn't getting to me anymore. And I had started to create my own version of what beauty was.
Same.
And I had started to process that, okay, back in that time, the light-skinned girls were considered pretty, or the girls who had
talked about this actually.
Right, and then so for me, I'm just like, I don't look like them, but I'm still beautiful too. And I was like rough around the edges. I played basketball. I did all of those things, but this person and this woman that I am today, I always knew and was confident and knew that this is how it was going to turn out to be. And so like when you're saying those things to me, I'm like
girl,
the Michael Jordan documentary, like I took that personal.
Yeah.
I feel him because it's certain things people were saying to me, and I'm like, you're going to see, like, because that's not
if I felt and I believed every lie told to me when I was younger, first of all, we wouldn't be here.
Yes.
And I don't even think I'd be alive.
What was the one thing you heard that stuck with you?
Why you gotta do this to me on my show?
Okay, you strong. You got it. You got it, girl. Let's talk about it. Let's get inspired.
I think the worst because it meant so much. Books mean so much to me. I love to write. Words mean so much to me. I used to get told, and I'll say it was by my mom, and she's like, nobody's going to love you if you keep doing that, if you keep reading. It's weird. Well, she said worse words. I'm going to keep it PG because I was getting cursed at for loving books and to learn. Like, I think she didn't want me to become smart. You can control dumb, right? You can control uneducated. But I was told no one can love me because I was too weird. I was too eccentric. I loved books, and who loves books? And I was not beautiful. I was always going to be just a smart girl.
Man, the trauma that they leave behind.
But that made me read more.
Yeah.
I would lock myself in my room. Like, no, you're not going to. And the words used, because I talked about this on a podcast last season, where words, if you don't know a word, you're going to use a curse word, right? And so I was every, BITCH. I was every curse word in the book from my mom because you were not the educated one, and you didn't like books because you didn't want them.
Yeah.
And then I couldn't become better. And so it taught me to be better. It taught me to be better.
Oh,
so whatever she used against me worked. I'm better. I'm sorry, but I am.
One of the things that I would like to, as I'm continuing to elevate, to have real conversations. All right. So people may have something to say about this, and this is fine because I'm talking from Millicent, and this is my opinion and my experience, right? I feel like the ownership a lot has been put on deadbeat dads. I don't think enough folks talk about toxic
I talk
mothers.
about this all the time.
Toxic mothers and the damage that does to women when you becoming a woman. And I just was at a lunch with a business constituent, and she was saying that she had a challenging relationship with her mom. And for women, I don't care if you're black, white, Asian, Hispanic, it is rough. It is rough, and you internalize that. And then to see your brothers as well as your cousins and men you love, even men you date, with mother or mommy issues, people don't talk about that, right? Because we have so much honor and we uphold, and as we should. My mom did so many things right. Don't play about my mom, and I'm carrying her legacy with grace.
I have a different life, but yeah.
But the things that have stuck with us and stuck with it's traumatic, and I feel like people need to talk about it because there are so many of us
that's why I have
that are
show.
hurting.
Yes.
That are so many of us hurting, and we're told bad things and fed bad things, and there's so many people still suffering. You know how many people I talk to that I feel like are just stuck because they can't get over their mommy daddy issues, and it is a real thing.
Actually, even before you walked in, we were kind of talking about like traumatic things. And I tell people all the time, like, what you are fed is only because they probably had gotten fed the same thing. And so I'm a cycle breaker. You're a trailblazer and a cycle breaker.
Yeah.
I think that more people, if they own their story, and like I told you, if you share your story, who can use it against you? You just told the world. Like, who cares? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it took a long time for me to get here.
You have to have the courage, because I didn't
want. It
want
takes a lot of courage.
I didn't want to face this stuff.
Absolutely.
I didn't want to because when you're in a public eye, everything that comes with that, and everybody has something to say, and everyone wants to throw your past in front of you, and all of these things that come along with it. I didn't want to deal with it, but your story is meant for you to and make someone else's journey a little bit easier. And if you think about the people who helped you on your journey, if they wouldn't have shared their testimony or story, would you be here?
No.
So you got to have the courage to step up.
It takes so much, and it is healing.
It's healing.
Like, because hiding, and I did it for so long. Most of my closest friends didn't know the things that I went through.
Yeah.
Right in their face. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's healing.
When I started sharing, and I haven't shared it all, but when I started sharing, it changed something in me.
It's a release.
Yes.
It's a release, and like, I feel like when you share, you have the burden, but I feel like when you keep it in, it just doubles and just compounds, and it makes you so heavy.
You're dying a slow death.
Yes. Like get it out.
Because you're not free, right?
Yeah.
It's a weird prison in your mind and your soul. But when you really and I haven't shared it all, and I'm going to. I feel like I'm going to have a podcast soon that's just going to be me talking and me just sharing life stories.
You should, Jay.
And I'm writing to where I want to share life stories too. But
you should.
You creating this, because I always feel like, and I already knew what some of these books were about because I did some research, but I'm like, she's talking to Little Millie. That's why
I'm talking to Little Millie, because you know how many people tried to knock this little girl down?
Yes.
And that's why I said, like, even when corporate sponsors and deals and publishing deals, like, I am on the market, so don't shy away. Let's have the conversation.
Yes.
Because I'm independent right now, but I definitely would like to get the publishing deal so that we can distribute this book actually in stores and kids can see it in schools and do some different cool, unique things. It's trailblazing. It's innovative. However, I said, with the deals, no one is changing Little Millie, because that little girl had to fight. That little girl looks exactly like Little Millie on that cover.
I love
that. Little girl had to.
I love that's you.
That little girl had to fight. No one picked me except for my 5th grade teacher. And she says it all the time. She was like, I always knew that I was going to see you again, but no one picked me.
English teacher.
Is your teacher who picked you?
She picked me. She was so
she picked me.
Yeah, Miss Shinatri. I'll never forget her name.
Let's go, Miss Shinatri.
She gave me such... Listen, and I thought she was bullying me at first, but it was like this, and I was a straight A student at the time, and it was always this, right? And you said, and one day I was just like, you don't like me? And she was like, no. You inspire me.
Yeah.
I want you to be the best you. And everybody hated her because she actually made you work. But I learned the most about myself. I learned the most writing. Like, I love I love literature.
Have
all kinds.
Has she came back around yet?
I saw her because I had to. So I saw her as an adult, maybe like 10 years ago, and
Cool.
yeah, and it was just like, I love that you were tough. Like she was the ogre. I'm sorry, it's the truth, right? Like little kids are mean, but she wasn't. And then I saw all her beauty and her strength.
Yeah.
And once you learn that, nobody could take that from you. She always gave me a tough time because I could do better.
The teachers that were like so meaningful. So I just had an 8th grade teacher, Miss Young. I gave her such a hard time.
Same.
I loved Miss Young though. And she found me on Facebook and I was so happy.
Yes.
Because she's somebody who I wanted to come back around. And I just remember her talking to me and just loving me. I knew that she believed in me. Mm-hmm. So shout out Miss Young. I'm going to show you this clip so you can be like,
yes.
oh, my little Millie. And I used to talk to her all the time, like, why are you doing this? I remember Miss Young. She was working to pay for her wedding. And I had everything to say. I'm like, why are you working to pay for your wedding? And why are you doing this? She was like, little girl, you do not even understand.
If you don't stop asking no questions.
She was like, oh, you do not understand. This is my dream wedding. And she was so tired. And I used to be giving her a hard time. But Miss Young.
Hey, look at her now. Look at her now.
All the conversations helped. But all of the teachers that were helpful, I remember them.
Yeah.
I'm thankful.
I think I could name several teachers that still impacted me, but like, I think little 7th grade, hiding who I was and what I was going through, still in middle school, still in high school even, but she challenged me to be better, and in a world where I was silenced and kept down. So it was like one of the first times a woman like brightened me and shine light. I'm getting goosebumps saying this. Shine light on me. That was one of the first times in my life
that you had felt that
I felt that somebody wanted me to become better.
And that's a good one.
That's why it sticks with me to this day.
That's a good one.
Like I love her. If you're out there, like I do love her for that. Because she's like, no, mediocre, no, we're not doing mediocre.
I hope she's still teaching because Impact Greater Good. One of the things I'm doing is shining.
I gotta look her up. I
hope so because I'm shining light on teachers. That's part of it, beautiful. And I just started this week. So Nicole Williams got a feature out of Oak Ridge, Tennessee. I'm actually going to her school, Linden Elementary in
I need you
Tennessee.
in somebody's school over here.
Yeah, we're gonna do a Little Millie show on March the 7th. So Knoxville, Tennessee, I'm coming your way.
I love me some Tennessee
too. Nicole Williams, I feature her, and I want to spotlight teachers because we're giving all of this glory to reality stars and athletes and you know
the ones actually putting in the
work.
work.
And I'm like, these teachers are putting in the work, okay? And I want Impact Greater Good because it's a focus on education. I said, you know what? Who better to feature than to shine light on teachers? So I'm doing spotlights for the remainder of 2025. So if you have a teacher that you feel like is deserving of a spotlight, please send to me Millicent, Milicent at impactgreatergood.org.
I'll share her link too.
Yeah, please.
I'll share it.
Yeah.
You mentioned also, I'm just going all kinds of in opposite order of what I thought.
It's okay. We just have a conversation.
Listen, that's why I tell people when you have real talk, you may not catch everything, but you're going to catch the real, the rawness. You play so when you came in, I was like, oh, she's tall. Like, okay, which I thought you were because you stand tall in your pictures. Yeah. But you play basketball too.
Girl.
I need you to talk about it.
Girl.
Let's get some fun too.
All right. So
we've been intense.
Okay.
With you too. Tell me about basketball.
Little Millie tomboy.
Girl.
Literally, I woke up every day and went to the basketball court with my cousin. And we used to go early in the morning before the boys used to kick us off. The grown men would come out and gamble playing ball, right? In the hood. Come on. Let's talk about it.
That still happens.
I learned how to play ball. So by the time I was in the 7th and 8th grade, I was playing ball like the boys back then.
Good.
Girls wasn't really,
I love that.
And so when I went to 8th grade, Tawana and Nigeria, we went to Clarkston and our 8th grade team. We were so good. I was shooting threes and the gym used to go crazy. I told you I was good at everything.
Yeah.
And I used to sleep with my basketball. My cousins can tell you. I used to be like, Mama, if I die, bury me with my basketball.
my
Girl,
gosh.
I was like, you couldn't tell me that I wasn't loving basketball. Like, and so now I'm so proud of these WNBA girls, Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark, and just all of the excitement, because I was so heartbroken that I wasn't able to go to the next level. Like, I didn't have the support.
Yeah.
And so.
And it's not easy, especially for women. It's not easy to go pro in anything.
My mama was grinding. By the time
Yeah.
she moved to Atlanta, my mom was like, listen, I don't have time to play and support you at games.
Yeah.
I need to be making this money. And so it just was so hard to get to practice and just to do the things I needed to do. But I did have friends' parents who did fill in that gap.
Okay.
But I lost my confidence in the process of that. But now seeing that these girls have re-energized it, I hadn't even watched the WNBA, and I will say that.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew I should start participating and supporting them. But let me tell you, Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark, them girls bringing the heat.
Yes.
And not just them, a lot of those girls are.
Yes.
But it's really exciting now, and I'm loving it. Flage, LSU, I love her so much.
I have
I can't wait
people
to go.
whose kids
Yeah.
are playing basketball with girls.
Yes.
And I won't even mention names because I feel like that's their business.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
But I'm like, I don't have girls. I have 2 boys. But I'm like, I love when kids, and especially girls, are about something that is not the typical, right?
Yeah.
So I love women who play basketball, all sports genuinely, but like I was a girl that was into football and wrestling. And
Now that's the thing too. I have a niece that wrestles.
I
have a
loved
niece
it.
that wrestles at
Yes.
the collegiate level. She's
I thought I was going to be a wrestler. Like that was in my mind as a kid.
Women are doing a thing right now.
Yes.
Women, we're breaking molds. We're doing things that are so cool.
I love it.
And I love, one of the things that I really do love about basketball right now, I love how feminine they have made the game. They look so good and pretty, and the girls
that wasn't a thing
That wasn't a thing
No.
before. And I love how they're marketing it now, and how a girl can still be a girl
because
and play
it was
basketball.
one or the other.
It was one or the other.
And
it's
I
so
didn't
cool.
watch it back then because I was like, okay, they're not even letting them be girls.
Nope.
Because I was such a tomboy. I thought, oh, if I don't get taken seriously in playing these sports with these boys if I look like a girl. But then puberty came anyway. I was still looking like a girl, very much like a girl.
Yeah.
So, but it was, I remember, this is terrible, but having, girls get periods or whatever, and not even trying to pay attention because, oh my God, the boys are going to know I'm a girl, you know?
Yeah.
But I'm so proud of how far we've come. We got so much more to go. Like, we really do.
When they had that Super Bowl commercial, somebody asked me what I thought about it, and I just was like, I was proud. I'm so proud of these girls.
People like to make fun of these
all of them, not just the basketball girls, but all of the girls
sports,
that's out right now killing it.
Yes.
Clarissa, she just won the
what is it?
I can't even think. Another boxing undefeated.
So I love boxing too.
That was cool.
So I'm a contact sports person. There's the Serrano sisters that are boxing, and they're Hispanic, and that's a rarity to see women in that sport as Hispanic women, because I feel like that's another thing. It might, like, for Hispanic women, you're supposed to be the delicate and the girl and the makeup, and I never fit into that mold, and I don't fit in even now doing more of the girly things. But it's when you see, like in NBA, when you see the women that look like you and can play, I'm like, listen, I'm always so proud.
I'm loving these girls right now.
I'm
just loving the state of women right now, like what we're representing and what we're doing. And I find that a lot of the women, these men with the podcast mics.
Yes. So
that's
I don't get a
thing.
lot. Like, we could talk about it
because I'm like, the men with the podcast mics. Okay, I don't want everyone to hate me, but let's give the mics to the women, because I feel like the women are the ones that are doing the work. We're healing. We're doing the empowerment. We're doing the work for real, and so we're not just getting on a mic with our heavy trauma and not having an understanding of like how it happened, what happened, and connecting the dots. Because when you have this mic, you have a responsibility. It's a responsibility, and you need to be careful of the messaging and what you're putting out, because there are people who are watching who could be broken. There are people, young kids like we talked about, that are watching. I think that you have to really be responsible when you have this mic, and you have to really, really understand the power of this platform. And
it's a
if I could say
platform
there's
that's
one
crazy.
gap as I'm seeing right now, that's the gap I'm seeing.
I've been on other platforms. I'm so thankful because most of them are men. So I will be honest with you. I think that I agree with what you're saying. I also feel like they're feeding somebody, right? Somebody's out there. There's a market out there, right? But I genuinely think that not a lot of people are okay with just within their authenticity.
Mm-hmm.
You grow more when you're feeding a market.
Yeah.
I definitely don't do that.
Yeah.
I actually, it's funny because I do celebrate men on my show a lot just because I'm not this woman that is a man hater. Actually, I've had beautiful men in my life. I haven't had beautiful women, but that's where I come in and I create the beautiful women around me. You know, like
you said you feel like you haven't had relationships with a lot of women?
When I was young.
When you were younger.
The women in my life weren't always good to me, right?
Okay.
So I don't have a skewed vision on that. I know that that's...
But you gravitated more towards men.
I did growing up. But now, I have... My closest friends are beautiful, strong women, like truly. I just had to create what I never had.
Okay.
Like I bridged a gap, but I knew that. I give men a voice because I'm not the woman that's going to shut a man down. But I feel like what this industry needs is more men that are not willing to shut the women down.
I feel like it's become, so when I say give the women the mics, I feel like, because I love men. I love men.
She love her some men.
I love me some men. Men know that. I'm a man magnet.
Yeah.
I have all kind of male friends, and I love men. I love the male energy. I always have, right?
Yes.
Crazy story, side story. My mom used to either say I'm going to be a lesbian or a right,
or the other,
because I had so many boys that would come to the door. Hey, can Millie come out and play? Can Millie?
Same.
I have always,
Same.
you know, and men can tell you who've been in my life and friends, just, you know, even jobs, right? I go to lunch and, you know, it's a trail of men walking behind me.
Same. Actually, it's genuinely the
right.
same.
I love men. I love sports growing up.
Same.
I was a true tomboy. I'm a guy's girl, so I totally get it. I think that, and I feel like what has happened, and it saddens me, so I don't listen to it a lot because what's going on online and social media, it's become such a war, and it's like we're against each other.
And I love the community that I can create for it. I don't feed into social media.
Yeah, I don't like how everything is like the women doing this, the men doing this, and just like we kind of need each other, you all. And it's just like I would like us to.
None of us would be here first off.
Guys, kind of like we need each other. So, especially within our community, it's become real bad. And so I was like,
Toxic.
it saddens me, and I just want more people with the platforms to be responsible.
I could agree with that 100%. I feel like
because we have to change the narrative. One of the things, I was a journalism major in college. I wanted to say this.
Was I.
Yeah, I was like, okay. So one of the things that stuck with me about my college education was the media. When they say agenda setting, so that's a term in the media. The media doesn't tell you what to think. They tell you what to think about. Yeah. So when you have this mic and you're putting out information, you're putting setting an agenda, and people are really taking that and, you know,
and rolling with it. And they can put whatever narrative, right? So like if you're feeding a little bit of hate and it's all in good fun, somebody's not taking it as all in good fun. And then that's what they're spewing is just hate. I've been on platforms, I'm not gonna lie, the only reason I know the studio and everything is for my jaw-jacking boys, and I have become, I mean, they're like family at this point. Like, I really respect them. They brought me on when I was early in with my co-host, my old co-host, and to talk about things in different, you know, and they gave me a voice. And I will say that even though I don't do podcasting the way they do, I appreciated it because it was something like we all just had an open conversation. Yeah. And I wasn't shut down. Actually, if anything, they let me speak up. And I love a man that does that. I really respect that. And I will say hopefully this industry is gravitating towards a little bit of change.
I hope so.
But you're always going to have something negative because that's just life, right? I get a lot of cattiness from women, though, doing this podcast. And do you and we'll talk about it because we mentioned it a little bit before the show, but like now that this, and you're literally, like you said, a first generation trailblazer. Like, you created this from coming from nothing, but with everything beautiful and good, there's always going to be bad, right?
Yes.
What's the worst thing that you would say has come from all of this?
That saying, it gets lonelier at the top, is true. And I was afraid of that. And it flatlines. People just don't get it. They don't get it, and you're bragging. You can't even hold conversations with some of your closest friends that you thought were your closest friends, because if you tell them your goals or your dreams, but they got to remember, you're working all day, all night, and you're constantly thinking about your business and
what's
goals.
What's wrong with talking about goals and dreams?
But you can't, because they say you're bragging. So I feel like the thing that I'm a year and some months in, but I feel like on this new journey, but I feel like that has been the most, like, the biggest thing in which I have had to take a deep breath and know that I'm gonna be okay though, and know that for every person that I've lost, that God has put another destiny helper in my path to fill that void, and I have just became okay with it. And at first it did shake me, but I'm like, whoa, okay. What you know to be true about the people you love so deep, and you love them and you have such genuine intentions, they come to the conversation looking to say what you've done wrong, what you showed up like this, oh, you smiled, oh, you wore this, oh, I don't like you and I don't like this. And it's like, for me, my therapist used to tell me this all the time. What I wanted the most is what I gave away, which was love.
Same.
And I was showing up to conversations without boundaries and relationships, allowing people to mistreat me, and still showing up as Millicent and loving. But those days are over. And so no more of that. No more of that. If you don't like me, if you don't want to be around me, does it hurt me?
Yeah, because we're human beings.
And I'm getting ready to say that I'm human. But I'm like, I don't show up, Jay, and look for every reason why I don't like you. Oh, you did your hair like that. Oh, you said this. And even if you did do something, have the courage to have the conversation and move on. But people can't do that, and I'm okay with that. But that energy has to go over there now, because at this stage in my life, impact greater good, I only want the people around me who want to be around me, who love me, and safe places. I don't feel safe around a lot of people.
Same.
And I only want to be around people that make me feel safe, in which they can share their dreams and goals. I can share mine. We can uplift each other. When I leave the room, I don't have to worry about them talking about me. When they leave the table in the room, I'm not talking about them. Now, I was a gossiper at one point in my life.
Because life. Right?
And I grew and I changed, and I didn't want to do that anymore. Yeah. And I realized that it was wrong, because if I'm saying I'm your friend, Jay, and then
talking about you at all,
but I was doing that, and it was wrong. And once I grew to elevate and understand that, I wanted to do something different in my life. And so a lot of broken relationships, and I take ownership and accountability and responsibility, because I'm not running from that Millicent who I used to be. But I feel like in this journey, sometimes you get held hostage to who you
used to be. And so sometimes I'll stop people in their conversation.
No, go ahead.
You used to. And I'm like, no, I used to. We're talking now.
Yeah.
That old me, and I've done probably terrible things to people, but I've never been a person that didn't like accountability. Yeah, I did that, and that sucks, and I did it, but now I'm better. I think when people don't like these healed versions of us, or
they
people
don't
that
like
are broken,
it. Yeah, they don't like it.
When you don't like it, because what's in you that's stopping you from liking it? I've done nothing wrong to you, but you still don't like me. That's a you problem.
I didn't realize how many people, and that can get me emotional as well.
Yeah.
I didn't realize how many people were enjoying the experience of a broken Millicent. And that makes me sad, because it's like,
they wanted you down with them. And why would anyone, you're going to get me emotional, because I feel the better I became, the less
you
start
seeing people for who they are, and you're like, so wait, you only liked me when
I was crying,
a wreck, I was out of control, I was brokenhearted. I was obese and overweight. I was in a dark space. And then you can get along with me. You loved me. Oh, Millie cool and Millie. But now with elevation, you find every single thing you could possibly find and nitpick. And I'm no longer allowing people to do that. I'm no longer allowing people to pick me to absolute pieces.
Destroy you.
And then think that it's okay, and then think that you can either want to come be around me. Oh, I want to get invited to your birthday dinner. Why? You don't even like me. Didn't you go? You don't even like me, which is fine. But I no longer want to be around you.
I've always been okay with not being liked. I genuinely care for people.
Yeah.
So I give this, like, if I love you, it's not half anything.
Yeah.
Like, I love you.
I have a big heart, too. I love hard. I love hard, and I'm very, very loyal. Super loyal. What is your zodiac sign?
I'm a Leo, and I'm learning.
Okay, I'm a Taurus.
You know what's funny? I know a Taurus from, like, high school years, right? The most loyal person I've ever met.
Oh, Taurus we're so loyal.
And I didn't feed into zodiac signs at all.
Oh no,
but
Taurus
in the last couple years I'm learning. But that Taurus and shout out, I know you know who I'm talking about to you, but I won't even say your name.
Girl, we done gave so many shout outs to the we need some podcasts. We need some podcast endorsements. We done shouted out everybody up here.
Listen, if you got a business, I'm here.
Yes,
I'm definitely doing that. But I think that loyalty, I'm a very loyal person, but I've learned that being loyal and being ran over and taken advantage of, that's a thin line. So once I cut that line and I drew it in the sand really deep, like, that's when people were not okay with me, because people want you good, just never better than them.
Yes. Okay. So I feel like that was a gut punch for me to come to the realization that I had to draw a line in the sand, and I were letting people run over me, because I consider myself to be such a strong woman and have had to take care of myself, and I'm strong-willed and I'm strong, but I had to accept the fact that no, I never wanted to. And my therapist would tell me all the time, you don't have boundaries, and I'm like this.
No boundaries.
I never wanted to accept that, because that means I'm weak, and that means that people were just, I was a doormat. But I was like, I had to take a deep breath and to hold myself accountable, because that's a part of self-love. That is a part of self-love. That is a part of...
the biggest part for me.
It is a part of it. And I'm like, I was showing up to what I wanted the most in the world, even with men in relationships. I was giving myself away, giving love away. No, you don't even have to earn it. You don't have to earn my love, my friendship.
But that's...
You don't have to earn anything.
Little Millie.
That was Little Millie.
Yeah.
Now, Millicent today, 2025, getting ready to be 42 in April, and the founder and CEO of Impact Greater Good and the author of Little Millie, those days are over.
And they should be.
And I'm here to love I'm one.
You got to bring to the table, too. Like,
I'm here for everybody. I love everybody. I'm all inclusive. But if you want it, you got to give it as well. You can't come to the table throwing your darts at me and then expect me to want to be around you, accept it, and don't have anything to say. Those days are over.
I agree with that.
All right.
I agree with that.
All right, Jay.
All right. I want you to tell me and everybody what's next, where they can find you anywhere.
Okay.
I want you to go give yourself some love. Tell them where they can find your books, how they can reach out to you if they want to do any kind of work with you, whatever.
All right. So what's next for me? March 7th, like I told you, I'll be doing the My Little Millie show at Linden Elementary in Oak Ridge, Tennessee. I cannot wait for that. Shout out to Modest Media Ride. We're going to do an amazing job, so we'll have that footage and be able to, really, start getting that out there. And then following that up, March 8th, we have a Call for More. I'm a panelist at the Call for More Empowerment and Wellness. You want to be in a room. The Empowerment and Wellness Summit in Atlanta, Georgia, March 8th. Link in my bio on Instagram, and you can get your ticket. Also, I'm doing a Ronald McDonald House. I'll be doing another reading at Ronald McDonald House. I love Ronald McDonald House. I wanted to partner with them because that's an organization I believe in and a foundation I believe in. So Impact Greater Good will also be doing a food serving there as well. So we have that coming up. I have more books dropping tonight. You all will be able to hit the link for Color Bold, Color Bright. So let's talk about social media and where you can find me. Yes. My website for the kids' books is www.mylittlemillie, MILLITTLE, Millie, MILLEIE, because I know people spell Millie different ways, but this Millie is spelled MILLIE.com. And that's My Little Millie. You can also find the books on Amazon. They're available. And if you do purchase on Amazon, please leave a review. For Impact Greater Good, you can find me at www.impactgreatergood.org, on Instagram at Impact Greater Good, on social media. We're on Facebook. We are on Twitter. We are on LinkedIn as well. So we have all of these different channels. Yep. So you should be able to find us. We also have volunteer forms. We have donation forms. I am looking for sponsors. I'm looking for sponsors to sponsor the shows for My Little Millie. I'm looking to do collabs, to do partnerships. I want to partner with some great organizations, local organizations, and organizations that understand the mission, that also want to do good in the community, and who's all about giving back. And so that's what I have going on right now. But I'm thankful for everyone. I'm thankful for the journey. I'm excited to get out to some of these platforms that I really believe in. Jay, I'm so proud of you and everything that you're doing. This is my hometown girl, and I believe in her podcast. And I'm just excited to see you to continue to grow and to you all. Follow, like, share, subscribe. Let's get this podcast out there because she's doing an amazing job and she's doing some good work. So congratulations to you and everything that you're accomplishing.
Congratulations. I really want to thank you because you reached out to me. And at first, and I'll be honest on here, I was like, why me? Honestly, just because, I mean, and I'm still so in my humble beginnings still, but I think that every time someone reaches out, but then I did more research on you and I'm like, no, for real, why me? But I love that you chose me because I feel like you are the kind of guest I need on my show and and it's a brand, right? But also I can definitely relate to you and can share your story in a good way because I understand your story. So thank you.
I find like a lot of times people ask me that about me. They're like, why me? And I feel like intentionality is important.
Amen.
I can go to any podcast. I'm qualified to get on any platform. Or you could pay to get on platforms. But I'm being very intentional and I'm looking at folks' work. So before I make a decision, even where I get my makeup done, before I get my, I'm looking to see what that person, I don't want to collaborate with just anyone. I want to collaborate and partner with brands that I believe in. All money is not good money to me.
Amen to
and I want to do good business and put a good product out in the world. And so the people that I'm choosing, I will say I feel like it's ordained and it's special and it's easy. And I feel like we are like destiny helpers, like meant to help each other. So there was a connection with you and I just liked your work. And so I was like, it was easy too. The things that
you made it easier too. Like it's just like, girl, I got you here. And that meant something to me because a lot of women, and I'll give you your flowers before we go. A lot of women, and in general, it doesn't matter what you do, don't do that. Like they don't extend that hand. I have beautiful women in my life, not to take that away from people, but a total stranger to extend a hand to you.
I'm all about that. I'm like, as I continue to elevate, I continue to elevate any way that I can help, I'm here to help. I'm here to, it's that saying out there, the people at the top collaborate and the people at the bottom competing. That's really true.
And it's sad, but it is true. I've learned that.
I'm here to collaborate. I want to help you develop. I want to help grow. What can we do for each other? How can we help each other? And so it's like some people don't want to hear it and some people, and I'm like, hey, I'm not here to force you. Like if you don't want to hear it and like,
And you have to come because if I was somebody else, what is she doing? You know what I'm saying? But you have to come ready to learn too because we don't all know everything. And so it's just I'm a sponge for a lot of things, for the good things too. I'm careful with what I'm a sponge, but I am because I do know that I don't know it all and I know where I want to be. And obviously this is a beautiful beginning, but it's not.
I love that about you. You touched me too, because you was like, no, like, I'm willing to listen. And I was like, I say this all the time, you have to be able to take feedback. I tell employees that you got to get to that point in your life where people can put into you, because when it's resistance, it makes people not even want to whatever. And you don't grow. You miss the opportunity.
I'll go to the next person who wants to learn and wants to grow. Yeah. I learned that at a young age because of where I came from and the people that didn't love me. I learned that other people will, and that other people will pour into you. You just got to be willing to accept it. So with that being said, thank you. Give me a hug.
Thank you. Oh, we did it. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Guys,
this has been amazing. Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you all.
You guys
Thank
for
you.
watching.
Thank
this is
you.
Jay, and you know where to find me. I appreciate it.
All right.
I got a story. Real talk, real people, real conversation. Week to week, this the place to get your inspiration. Go and sit back and unwind, sipping on your coldest glass of wine. This the home of girl bosses and the warriors. Went from tragedy to triumph and it's glorious. Ain't no question if they ask, they got that fire. This the podcast that came to Aspire. Welcome to Aspire Podcast, home of the real talk, real people, real stories. Give it up one time for y'all hosts.